All right, just a quick little thank you guys for supporting the last two videos I posted for the Strategist update, the one before and one after. I do appreciate it a lot. I did not expect those videos to actually do anything or make its way anywhere in YouTube. You guys made me eat my words when I said I was only expecting it to possibly get a couple hundred views within its lifetime, not a couple hundred views within the first few hours or so of that video dropping. So appreciate it, and also appreciate all the recent support as well. It'd be nice to hit that 500 sub limit by end of the year maybe. I gotta keep I'm not going to be too optimistic about it and say, yeah, let's hit it by the end of the spring, or not end of spring, but end of summer or beginning of winter, something like that. But if I get into 500 subs by the end of the year, ooh, you guys don't know how much that would help me out, especially with what's going on personally. But anyway, let's get on to the main video of Mantis and Cloak following this new update for the Strategists. Alright, since I wanted to actually cover all four of the strategists, I couldn't cover Mantis and Cloak in the previous video because, again, I came back from an 11-hour shift, first time coming back from to work since September of last year due to my injury. Body was in shock, and I was extremely tired, extremely exhausted from all the work I had to do detailing cars, so it's rough on the body. Detailing cars is no joke. I had to wait a couple days to kind of reacclimate to the job, so here we are, 6 in the morning making this recording, but the gameplay was from the previous day. This is actually legit my first time actually using Mantis. So what the gameplay that you're seeing right now is the post strategist update and first time with me playing as Mantis. So it is a lot of learning. Since she is I consider her to be like a stance type character because she has two ways of supporting her teammates, that being her steroid, which just increases damage either to her allies or to herself, and then obviously she has the healing as well. You know, actually, at first I said that, yeah, I didn't really like Mantis's playstyle because of that duality aspect of it, of her kit having two different ways to support characters, but actually, after this particular gameplay, and this gameplay was exceptionally fun. I think I have not had a game this fun before with a character I've never used before. You know, I quickly had to hit F1 and look at her abilities really quick to see what's what, and then from there, it's just a matter of figuring out when to use those abilities and when to kind of save them for a rainy day. Another thing too with this Mantis gameplay is I never died in this gameplay either, or in this game. I don't know, maybe it means I'm a Mantis main, or, you know, I should probably pick her up and start playing her. But if you have any criticism about my Mantis, I mean, feel free to drop them. Like I said, this is my first time using Mantis, so I don't really know how to exactly use her properly and when to make use of her steroid, who should I be steroiding, that kind of thing. But either way, the thing that they changed to the update for Mantis was increasing her basic attack, giving her an extra 5 damage per projectile hit. And, you know, not a huge change, at least for me. I don't notice it because, again, this is legit my first time playing as Mantis, so I can't really leave an opinion on whether or not this is a good change for her. I mean, obviously it's a good change for her, but to see the difference personally, I can't really say anything beyond, yeah, it still is a good change overall for her. You know, a little bit more damage makes her a little bit more viable to deal with any potential threats coming her way, allows her at least to give herself some more sustainability, gives herself, I want to say, an option to at least keep her, you know, if she has to solo her way back to the front line if she's on her way from spawn and, you know, you got someone camping your spawn. I mean, obviously with her sleep as well, and that's the other thing too with her sleep. I did not know that it arches. I thought it was like a straightforward projectile like Luna's ice ball. I did not know it's arching, so that's kind of me. This is kind of me figuring out how to actually properly arch her sleep thing. I actually did land it a few times, especially against the Hulk, especially when Hulk had ulted, so that was pretty nice. But either way, I like that this gameplay in particular, this particular game with my first attempt at Mantis was what I would consider to be more like a trial by fire with her. I do like always kind of challenging myself when it comes to a new hero I don't play. I do not take heroes into the lab if I've never used a hero before. I'm not going to take him to the lab and try and figure out combos and such and all that because I don't like having a controlled environment like that. It's not gonna, I mean, yeah, it'll help you understand how the kit works and everything, but you really need to actually put it to its paces in an actual PvP scenario. So that's what I did here with Mantis. Rather than trying to figure out how her stuff works in the lab, I prefer to figure it out as we went. And obviously, I mean, this was kind of a steamroll on our part. We were obviously the better team. I don't know if I was contributing that well to my heals. I was trying my best to keep my tanks alive as much as possible, while also at this point I was quickly figuring out I should probably be using my steroid on the duelist. I think we had a Black Panther that I would use my steroid on. We also had a Psylocke Warlock, I would use my steroid on. From time to time, because I know that Magneto's basic attacks have a bit of an AoE to him, an AoE splash, I would sometimes use my steroid on him and then quickly follow up with heal. Sometimes I was also learning that maybe I could alternate between the steroid and the heal. I don't know how if her passive just regenerates on her own or something, but the other thing I noticed too with her healing or her leaf orbs, I don't know what those are called. Honestly, again, I'm not too familiar with Mantis, but you know, the thing that recharges her steroid / healing ability. I don't know if that's something that happens in game with extra damage or if it just passively recharges by itself. But I did notice those charges fill up a little bit faster than Warlock's charges. Frankly, that's actually good for Mantis, but kind of bad for Warlock. I wish that Warlock possibly had a faster charge to his healing beam. Then, you know, I think he would actually be in a little bit better spot, you know, and kind of rescind my previous statement that maybe he could use a third charge rather than just sticking to the 2 charges. But with that update giving him a 1-second cooldown as long as he lands crits, that's actually a good change. And since then, I've been playing a little bit more Warlock. Actually, is, you know, now that I can notice it, I am pulling out a lot more healing beam arrays. But then, of course, you know, we're not talking about Warlock. We're talking about Mantis, and then later on here in the video, we'll talk about Cloak and Dagger. I was thoroughly surprised I was doing pretty well with Mantis, considering this is my first time using her. I'm also not too familiar with how her ult works. I mean, I've personally not knowing how her ult works. I just know that the ult provides healing and I'm not sure if it gives the entire team a healing or not healing, a speed boost, because I know it gives her a slight little speed boost, I think. Can't remember. Again, don't really know her kit. But, you know, it feels kind of like Luna's ult, although now that I have been able to actually experience the ult myself playing Mantis, kind of does feel, I don't know, maybe a little bit weaker than Luna's ult, but that's just me speaking kind of randomly as like my first experience with her. Or who knows, you know, maybe because of the update having that stronger damage potential, I'm probably going to start using Mantis a little bit more often. I got to expand my range of healers, man, because all I really use is Luna and Invisible Woman, and from time to time I'll use Jeff and Rocket, although between Jeff and Rocket I use Jeff more often than Rocket. It's updates like these that will allow players like me who kind of have a hard time trying to pick a different hero that everyone kind of wants you to use because it is a good overall pick, and even if you do agree with them, it's just not a playstyle that you're good with. So it's nice to see an update like this that will actually make changes and make it more tempting for someone like me or like any other player who kind of thinks like me, that now we have more options to choose from because now those options are a little bit more viable, or those options actually just make it a little bit easier because of that set update. Either way, I'm definitely going to be picking up Mantis a lot more often. It's just a matter of optimizing how I play with her. I think she is definitely more kind of like Luna in the sense that she is kind of more hyper aggressive. You know, you do have to kind of stay in that team fight, although her defensive capabilities, again, she only has the sleep. But either way, I thoroughly enjoyed playing her. I'll definitely be playing her a lot more often. As you can see here, we'll see how I actually did not pay attention to my healing, but I did pull it up, and we'll see how it is and see how well I contributed overall. If you agree with my Mantis gameplay, let me know what kind of changes do I need to make to her to optimize her kit. Now let's move on to Cloak and Dagger. Alright, I'm going to quickly preface that I'm also not a pro at Cloak and Dagger. I'm still kind of, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably kind of right there in the middle, smack dab 5 out of 10 on Cloak and Dagger as far as figuring out a playstyle, because she is a little bit weird. I'm not used to her type of playstyle because she is a stance hero and kind of unique in her situation that she is the only stance hero in Rivals. You know, you have to switch over to Tai and then her kit changes. It's all based on damage potential rather than healing potential, and then if you need to, you have the option to just manually swap over to Tandy and then you automatically become a healer. So I really like how versatile she is. I can see why a lot of people like using Cloak and Dagger. While Luna Snow and Invisible Woman, I consider very hybrid roles. You know, they can fill DPS and support pretty well. Cloak and Dagger, I think, kind of ups that level because she has so much versatility too. I see the appeal in Cloak and Dagger. She actually is pretty fun to use. I do like that her healing is actually pretty easy. I think that's another reason why a lot of people like to pick Cloak and Dagger, because her healing has a bit of a homing to it. The Light Force daggers do home in on targets, always prioritizing allies over the enemies first. And yeah, I mean, it's a good appeal. She does a good amount of healing. I kind of wish that well, no, I'll backtrack on that. When you look at the strategist roles, every single person on the strategist side of things all have projectiles or hit scan. Well, I think they're all projectiles, really. I don't think we have a hit scan hero, although Mantis, I mean, I still consider Mantis and Adam Warlock and Luna to be more hit scan, although, again, their projectiles are a little bit slow, so they're not entirely hit scan, they're still projectile based, whereas Cloak and Dagger, she is projectile based, and then of course you switch over to Ty, and then he's basically a pseudo Scarlet Witch. So again, yeah, she is much easier to use. If there are times where I don't feel like trying to really sweat it out with Luna or Invisible Woman trying to land their basic attacks, you know, I have to not only focus on following enemies when I'm trying to hit them, but you know, I also have to follow my own allies too. There's 11 different players on the team I have to worry about, or 11 different players on the team, 11 different players in the game I have to worry about trying to follow targets so I can either heal them or damage them. It feels like Cloak and Dagger is almost like I'm taking a break from healing, but not taking a break from healing, if that makes sense. You know, her basic attacks when I'm using Tandy does the work for me. You know, that's actually nice. But a stance hero, that's what makes her tricky to use. I think if you're not familiar with a stance hero, and this is like your first time ever picking up Marvel Rivals, and you want to play support, and you decide to look at Cloak and Dagger, or maybe you're a fan of Cloak and Dagger from the comics and Spider-Man the animated series and all that, when I was first introduced to Cloak and Dagger, I can't remember which episode it was. I think it was in the Amazing Spider-Man that I first met Cloak and Dagger. I think it was Amazing Spider-Man, or was it Ultimate Spider-Man? I can't remember. I can't remember which one it was, but it was the Spider-Man series where everyone's eyes look dilated. You know, there's just really, really big black eyes, almost, you know, like legit, like they were dilated. If someone can tell me which Spider-Man that was, that's the one where I first met Cloak and Dagger. But anyway, she is a little bit difficult for me to play at times because there's so many times where I'm trying to heal teammates, and when I'm also getting hit by enemies, and I'm trying to kind of figure out what do I need to do next. Do I need to defend myself, or do I just keep healing and healing my teammates? There have been so many times I'll accidentally switch to Ty, and suddenly I am still holding left click thinking I'm healing my teammates like a dumbass. And then suddenly I am dead, and my teammate's dead, and then my teammates ask, what happened? Well, you know, why'd the heal stop? And all this time, that's like, my bad, dude. I accidentally swept over to Ty. And, you know, a lot of times those guys, they'll tell me, oh, you know what, that's fine. That happens to me, too. Well, I'll accidentally swap over to Ty, and when I did not mean to. I don't know why I don't know why it gets confusing at times for me to play Cloak and Dagger. But I'm still getting used to it. I'm still trying to figure out her playstyle. I'm still, in my opinion, I'm still playing too safe with her. I think I need to be a little bit more aggressive with her. Because right now, I'm trying to treat Cloak and Dagger like Luna. If you've seen my previous videos where I'm playing Luna, you know I can be a little bit aggressive with Luna. Because I just love how hyper-aggressive Luna can get. Same with Sue Storm. You know, whenever I have the option to use her Vortex, I'll drop it in the middle of a team fight and just kind of stay in that team fight while trying to make use of the Vortex and either pulling or pushing enemies in and out of it. I just like that hyper-aggressive feel to it. Whereas Cloak and Dagger, I kind of have to make adjustments to that playstyle, especially if I'm using Tandy, because, you know, when you're using Tandy, her abilities are all focused around healing. But when you swap over to Ty, you can kind of be a little bit more aggressive, especially when you have the ult ready. You know, you pop the ult, then you can stay as Ty and start doing some damage while everyone on your team gets some passive healing from the ult, which is actually pretty cool. But again, I'm trying to figure that out as I go. I think at this moment, Cloak and Dagger actually is Centurion, and yet I'm still trying to figure out how to play her. I mean, I already figured out how to play Luna and Invisible Woman when they were agents still. They were very easy to follow up with, but again, you know, Cloak and Dagger is a stance hero. Stance heroes are pretty tricky to use, but all in all, when it came to the update itself, increasing Light Force Dagger's damage by 3 points, 18 points of damage, and then, what was it, Ty's was from 65 damage a second to 70. His time to kill is actually now faster than Scarlet Witch. And I already saw people making comparisons when the update dropped that Ty is now a pseudo Scarlet Witch, like I mentioned earlier. I even tested this out too. I think I have some footage of that where I tested out the time to kill on some duelists. I think I tested out on Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Iron Fist. Once again, with that new combo. Okay, so Spider-Man probably doesn't have a chance anymore against Cloak with this new update. Black Panther. Terror Cape. Look at that. His health melts. Basic attack without Terror Cloak. Or Terror Cape. And now with Terror Cape. Dang, look at that. The health was melting on Fist. And hopefully with that little comparison, you can kind of see that with Terror Cape, Ty is now stronger than Scarlet Witch, but again, only when you have that debuff. Otherwise, his time to kill is on par with Scarlet Witch. That's a really good change because, again, it's even better. This means that Cloak and Dagger in particular, they have better defensive capabilities. We don't have to worry so much about the peel, about getting peel from a tank or having a DPS try and come back and help support you. I think if you come across a really good Cloak and Dagger who obviously knows what they're doing, they're going to be taking advantage of that a whole lot more often. I know I will too. I think from now on, whenever I pick Cloak and Dagger, I'm going to stick close to my other support, and whenever we start dealing with dive characters like a Spider-Man or Black Panther or Captain America, Hulk, Emma, let's see who else. Iron Fist. Iron Fist is definitely becoming a little bit more of a problem child. I am definitely going to be experimenting more with that. It's going to help me understand Cloak and Dagger a little bit more often and be able to kind of finalize my my playstyle with her. All in all, solid update for all 4 of these strategists, because in my previous video before the update had dropped, I guessed that it was going to be Mantis, Luna, and Warlock getting the increases to possible damage, and I actually got 2 of the 3 right. Luna and Mantis actually did get increases in their damage. Luna having more of that sniper type playstyle, while Mantis just gets a straight buff on her basic attacks. Warlock, though, I wasn't expecting the change that he got. You know, landing criticals will decrease your quantum healing by 1 second, and that means, you know, so long as you can land your headshots, you can stay in the fight longer. You'll be able to land your quantum healing a lot more often. Really good for team fights too, especially if you're able to not get focused on. Really good change for Warlock. But overall, it's a solid update for the strategist. And then even more good news, and which actually kind of surprised me too, was I was not expecting Ultron to be the next hero. Not only the next hero, but the next strategist. I did not see that coming. I was not expecting Ultron to be a healer. Oh, you know, because when you look at his lore, especially from the MCU, Tony created Ultron to be an armor for the world. So here I was thinking probably Ultron might be another Vanguard or possibly a duelist or maybe even like a pseudo tank like Mr. Fantastic in a way. But him being a strategist definitely caught me off guard. I am super excited to see how he plays. I know that hopefully that means we might see some more strategists, some more players coming in and want to insta-lock an Ultron. If they insta-lock an Ultron, that's good news for us. You know, kind of increase the support community. I think us as a strategist community, we probably are the smallest. We're probably the minority because, you know, obviously everyone wants to be DPS, which is not nice because, you know, a lot of them are trash, and it's up to us, the support players, to make sure that the trash can be recycled properly rather than going to the landfill. But that's just kind of my thing. Hopefully Ultron comes out, he's balanced, he's not broken, in a sense that he's probably, maybe, I don't know, he might be a hybrid. He might be doing good damage and healing. I could see him being more of that hybrid. Who knows, maybe he might be a stance character. That's kind of just my wishful thinking, because, you know, it would be nice to see more stance heroes and not just have it be unique specifically to Cloak and Dagger, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and again, thank you for the support on those previous 2 videos and the support on the channel. If I can get to 500 subs by the end of the year, that's going to help me greatly and really rethink my plans moving forward, because I had to, again, I gotta rethink some stuff for this year, and hopefully YouTube can be one of those. But what do you think so far of the strategist update? How are you enjoying it? Let me know in the comments down below. I do like reading them, and I do like replying to them whenever I can. So until then, we'll see you on that next video.